Coming up on Popmuckers, Cowan wants to get slapped. Your Facebook status is not a search field. The worst times we've had the runs. And this just in. President Obama gave his annual State of the Union speech. Or should I say State of the Union? Am I right? Huh?
You're listening to the Popmuckers Comedy Podcast. And here is your host, Chris Cowan.
Hey everybody, this is Popmuckers, and I am one of your hosts, Chris Cowan. Guys, you just need to let it go, okay? You know, if you want to go over to the website and pay to have your names announced professionally.
$5. I didn't say anything.
It's not $5.
$5.
I didn't say a
it's
word.
It's a little bit more. It's like $1 more per word.
Fair enough.
I would have given up that hamburger.
I'm Chris Quant.
I'm Nate Henderson.
And this is Popmuckers. It's the comedy talk show, pop culture podcast, whatever you want to call it. We make fun of things. Sometimes it's pop culture, sometimes it's each other, but that's pretty much what our show is all about. Mm-hmm. This is episode 17, brought to you the year of our Lord 2014, February 3rd. This is our 17th episode, and we plan on going every week this year, or at least getting 40 episodes.
We're
I
going
think is
pop crazy. What we're doing.
You should trademark that.
No, I didn't think it was that good.
Well, I just want to hurt his feelings.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, you mean put a hashtag in front of it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's kick things off with the first segment of our show, which is not that sound. Nope. Here we go. This is the first segment of our show. It is our Pop Drops. This is the part of the show where we drop something
like it's hot.
Like it's hot, yeah.
Like it's hot.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Who wants to start? Who's got something? Nate, I know you come very prepared.
Well. Ooh. Wow. Here comes that bus right on time. Quant, you probably have something to kill at least a couple minutes.
Absolutely. I can babble on for a little bit.
Go for it.
Couple things. Okay. Nate, you will appreciate this first one.
Yes.
Hashtag Instagram pan blowing up. Yo, let me tell you about this.
Okay.
On the Instagram,
do you want to set up what Instagram pan is?
I should set that up, yeah. Instagram pan is my little experiment for the year. Taking a pan, hashtagging it Instagram pan just for Instagram, and seeing what kind of reactions we get. So far from Mr. Henderson, very negative.
Well, if you go by the video.
But it helps you work some anger issues out, which is always good.
Popmuckers.com/16, you can watch the video where
you can see it.
Nate actually becomes a supporter of the Instagram
That's
pan.
true. You did,
Yeah.
I think ultimately it took me hitting Quant with all of my strength in order to really get me to turn around. So thank you.
You had
Quant.
to knock some sense into Quant in order
I did,
for you to
in order to
appreciate
kind of see the light. Like, this is actually a good thing. Because if it means I can strike Quant repeatedly with a pan in order to advertise it, I'm down.
Whatever it takes, Nate. Whatever it takes.
So be it.
Giver. On Instagram, Bunny Slippers Man left a comment, said, "What can us Popmuckers fans do to help Instagram pan succeed at this task?"
That is a great question.
And that is a fantastic question. We are gaining speed, listeners. This is becoming pop culture.
We've gone
Instagram
from
pan.
snail's pace
You're
to
not
a
getting ahead
slow
of yourself
trudge.
at all here.
Not at all. No, what you can do is you can tune into Popmuckers, like us on Facebook, and join Quantum Leap on Instagram and follow the Instagram pan and share that Instagram pan across the country. And if anybody happens to know Will Ferrell or Jimmy Fallon, you can help me
Let me
my goals.
just dig into my contacts here.
Let me see.
Check your contacts list. But no, I appreciate that, Bunny Slippers Man, for checking out what you can do with the hashtag Instagram pan.
And take pictures with a pan and
absolutely
in random places, and
maybe next to your bunny slippers.
That's the thing. It's
you know what?
Go viral.
We're getting Instagram pan fans.
If you mean that one individual, yes, you're right.
You know what? It's one more than I had last
That's-
week. So
High five.
Nice. You know you've made it when you've got a fans of a spin-off of your podcast.
Well, I'm gonna
movement.
I'm gonna get the Instagram pan cam going on.
Oh, nice.
As well.
Okay.
So-
I got to give you props. Getting people interested in something that I know deep down you don't give a flying crap about. That is amazing. That's like cult leader status right there.
I do give a crap.
No,
about
you
it.
do. You do. I'm sorry.
It's
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. In the chat room, it is a great Instagram username.
He's talking about bunny slippers, man.
That's what I was saying. No, I was saying Instagram is great.
Thank you, one and all, for supporting
That pointless endeavor.
that pointless endeavor.
Yeah,
That's-
and share
that's
it.
Great.
Hashtag Instagram pan.
Okay. Do you have any other
Are
pop
all
drops?
your are
Okay.
all your pop drops going to be okay? All right, fair enough.
Oh,
They're all
I'm
gonna have
sorry.
to do with
Are we
Instagram
above
pan.
shameless promotion on this show?
I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
think the bar was set over to my left.
I don't know what you're
here,
talking about,
Mr. Cowan.
All right, what's your other pop?
You know, I noticed it again this weekend. And that is this thing of estate sales. Have you guys noticed that instead of garage sale signs now, it seems to be that people are just going with straight estate sales, as if we're going to believe that that somehow is going to class up your crappy garage sale. Like taking a Sharpie and an old piece of cardboard and writing estate sale on it, you're not fooling anybody. Let me be honest with you right now. So it's just
They
I
sell
think
the
it's
same
hilarious.
crap, but it's vintage.
Well, exactly.
vintage.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is like Jeeves going to meet me at the gate, open it,
Right.
and then Carson's going to be at the door saying, "Well, to our left wing."
No, estate
We have
sale
our
doesn't that
jewels.
usually mean like there's somebody died, somebody croaked, and they're just getting rid of all their
There's
crap?
too many. There's not enough people dying for all the estate sales that are out there. Let me tell you.
Gerald meets you at the front. Your crap, sir.
In our left wing, we have the jewels and the furs, and in the right wing, we have our toasters, musty books, and old records
Nice.
for your perusal. So, and it just struck me as funny with all these cardboard signs with estate sales you see out there. Anyway,
Awesome.
that was it. Hashtag Instagram pan.
Okay. All right. You're just gonna. I just feel like there's so many other things
It's cheapening it now.
you could really be promoting. I just feel like there's so many other things. And
Come on,
a
you got-
hashtag.
I'm sure that Quant talked with his wife, and he said, of all the ideas that are really going to make this whole
this is gold, honey.
thing,
It's gold.
let me tell you, this is the one we got to put in the front. This is the one we got to highlight. It's awesome.
Someone in the chat room says your mom is vintage, which I think is true. Your mom is like a fine wine.
You know my mom?
This person does, I guess.
It's like I don't know where to go with that.
There
Do you
were
have a pop-
so many comebacks in my head at once that they canceled each other out.
It just got blocked.
That was incredible. It's like they all couldn't make it through the funnel. Anyway, okay. What's up? Yes, pop.
Do you have
yes.
a pop drop?
Mine's more of just like a I'm just curious because I know we have listeners with kids. We do have some listeners that they have young kids and stuff like that.
We appeal to all ages.
We build the
sure, why not?
entire spectrum. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, from the womb to the grave. No, not
Wait,
really.
and actually from conception to the grave
Oh dear.
and the afterlife.
Yes. So if any
that
of
broad.
you that are watching our live streaming now or conceiving, feel free to write to Pop Mockers. and
conceived.
let us know.
gross.
Yeah. Yes, I'm the gross one.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's
I'm
exactly
the
what
one
we
that
meant.
crossed the line. Apparently.
Starting to sound like a pro-choicer.
No, I'm curious.
What?
Life starts at conception, buddy.
Here comes the record scratch. A couple weeks ago, I started a diet, and what I noticed, one of the hardest things for me, because before it's like, okay, I can kind of buckle down, especially before I had kids. Like I was like, okay, I can set the tone of the day. Sure, I can control the type of food that's coming into this house, and it's like the easy. I mean, it was a lot easier to diet now. Now, aside from the fact that my kids are going through like this picky food phase. And like sometimes they'll just skip meals. They'll just like take a couple bites and they're just like
Yeah.
full. They'll push the plate away. So for me, dieting this time around is so hard.
Oh, yeah.
Because they'll just be like, I'm like telling myself, you're going to have a salad. You're going to have a salad for dinner. And then my son just like pushes his plate away, and there's like 6 chicken nuggets on the plate. And it's like, you're already stressed, you're already exhausted because you have young kids. And so I just find myself, well, one can't hurt, just a little bit of barbecue sauce there, and then like 5 minutes later, well, I just went, it's like, I can't let it go to waste. I can't let food go to waste. That's how I was raised. Is anybody else like that?
No, that's one of the things of being a dad.
Yeah. Well,
No, but
it's
you
extra-
will
Finish that.
And wasn't it always kind of the understanding that dad was the one that always just like stepped up and inhaled everything, so that way you at least didn't feel like you were throwing all this food in the garbage?
Dad is basically the family dog. You know, you feed the scraps and leftovers too.
Yeah. It's like,
The human
but
garbage.
we can't feed it to our dog. Like, our dog has weight problems as it is.
Have you considered taking the guilt trip approach with your kids and just being like,
what is
hey,
this?
kids, do you want your dad to get fat? No? Then eat your freaking food. Don't turn me into a fatty, son.
Maybe even take it a step further. Just like a fat, obese, diabetic-ridden, soon-to-die by the time he's 55 father. I don't know.
Are you a fan of bed sores? Because I will
That's
have
true.
them. if
I
you
haven't-
make me eat
I haven't
them.
considered-
Do you want me to be alive for my grandchildren?
See, you brought up something really nice, Calvin, because my kids have cried over having to being made to eat certain things for dinner, but it sounds to me like they've been crying for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I really got to lay in the guilt.
Exactly.
That way I don't have to worry about it, but at least I have somebody to blame for my failed diet besides just me.
Well, see, that's the important part too. It's okay to fail as long as you have someone else to blame.
I like that.
That's how I go through life.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to tattoo that on my arm.
It's better than no regrets.
I say you
So-
make your children feel worthless so you can feel better about yourself, mate.
That's why I had that.
That's what fatherhood is all about. There you go, fatherly wisdom from Pop Mockers.
So when I stomp my son at football, I can be like, ha ha, sucker.
Should have finished
Anyway,
the food.
I'm doomed. I'm going to be fat forever. Your turn, Count.
So I've got a couple here. So I'm going to start with this one. Somebody shared this on the Pop Mockers Facebook page. So if you haven't already liked the Pop Mockers Facebook page, I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you, like the Pop Mockers Facebook page.
Yes,
we don't just advertise our podcast to ridiculous amounts, although we do that as well.
Sure.
We also share funny pictures and
we do.
and things that are funny
And the like.
and the like. So, anyways, this was somebody posted this on the Pop Mockers wall, and I'm forgetting who did it, so I apologize. But this was a funny article from The Onion, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. The Onion.
Oh, yes.
I love The Onion because it's so ridiculous, and the fun. What's great about it is it's not just silly stories. It's satire. It's commentary on.
Oh, yeah. The satire is brilliant.
Yeah, and it truly is brilliant, especially when you have somebody post it who doesn't quite get it, who thinks it's like a legitimate news source, and they start freaking out because they find out that the army is, in fact, is secretly giving everybody the AIDS virus and that kind of thing.
They aren't?
Well, they are, but I mean, that was just an example.
I mean, I read it on the internet. I thought it was true.
So, anyways, this one is funny because it's here's the headline: 6-day visit to rural African village completely changes woman's Facebook profile picture. It's hilarious because I think we've all seen kind of the person who goes on a short-term missions trip to like Africa or something, and then immediately they get back, and what is their Facebook profile?
Oh, it's a picture of them.
It's a
in
white
that-
blonde
in that-
girl with a bunch of little black kids. And hey, I ain't judging. Yes, I am, but I ain't judging. It's something that here's the thing about short-term missions trips is they're not really so much for the people you're visiting. They're for you. They're for the people. They're for the person going on the short-term mission trips, and that's not a bad thing.
It's brutal honesty right there.
It's true, though, right? You got to admit it, right? It's
Every
true.
podcast, Cowan sees a small ball of snow at the top of a hill, and he just kind of shoves it. He's like, let's see how far this thing will go.
Come on, back me up. I'm right?
I'm
you
sure,
guys, you guys are afraid.
No,
to say that it's true. No, and that's not a bad thing because that's how you kind of get your foot in the door and find out about
I think people that go on
missions
missions trips, you're right. They do. It's a very short amount of time, and they seem to get something very, very cool from it.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. They don't usually have long lasting change in the area that they just visited for a week.
You're right. Exactly.
Those hardcore missionaries that spend like 5 years in a place, you can argue.
Yeah.
They've had a pretty good impact.
Yeah.
So
sure. I don't know. I've seen it a couple times where somebody comes and they back and from the trip and they have the picture of them with the the little third world children. And two things immediately pop into my head simultaneously and contradictory. One is, oh, what an amazing person going on that trip to Africa or whatever, and giving up of their time and service and working hard. True. And the other thing is, did you have to change your Facebook profile picture and announce it? What are you, some kind of self-righteous attention whore? But no, I actually do. I have the utmost respect for people who go on those mission trips. But I thought it was a very funny article.
Well, and it takes a self-righteous attention whore to spot other self-righteous attention whores.
That's a good point.
We're good to go.
Yeah. There you go. As Matt Messer says in the chat room, it's a vacation that you feel good about taking.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
I do have to read this one quote from it real quick. She says in the article, this girl says, "As soon as I walked into that dusty, remote town and the smiling children started coming to me, I just knew my Facebook profile photo would change forever," said Fisher, noting that she realized early in her nearly week-long visit just how narrow and unworldly her previous Facebook profile photos had been. So it's a pretty funny article. I'll link to it at popmockers.com/17 if you want to see the show notes.
Nice.
And then finally, the moment everybody's been waiting for, because I've been teasing this on Facebook a little bit when I was trying to get people to come and watch the live stream and listen to the episode. And that is, what I said was, Cowan is going to get slapped.
I did read that, yes.
You did read that. Any questions as to why that is?
Verbally, figuratively, I don't understand.
So here it is. Here it is, guys.
Physically.
I'm going to invite you to slap me.
This is a trap.
No,
This is a trap.
No, this is legit. And here it is.
Smirk on his face.
Here it is. Here's why. Because I want to improve my podcasting and speaking abilities. And what I've noticed is I was listening to some older episodes, because yes, I do that because I'm an idiot like that.
No, it's your podcast, so
my podcast.
Sense.
I'm allowed to go listen to previous
It's your own
episodes.
QA. I mean, it's you're doing your own check. So you want us to slap you into being a better host?
Well, I do.
Do you want to die?
No, not just if I just made it broad and open like that, then yes, I would be dead within 10 seconds.
Oh, stop.
But this is for every time I say or you are allowed to slap me, because I'm trying to quit that habit.
You think you said it a lot in previous podcasts?
I have.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to be extra conscious of not saying or Okay. So if you catch me saying or other than in this example.
All right, I was getting ready, boy.
Watch
I was getting ready.
You're getting too excited.
Come on.
You have the vantage point, so you're probably gonna have to do most of the slapping. So I'm gonna cop
I'm gonna
out.
have to
I'm gonna
dig
cop
deep,
out
but
right
I'm
away.
sure I'll find the
You're
strength.
sure you're gonna muster the willpower.
Yeah.
So how's that sound? I'm really
great.
scared, but I know it'll be good for my speech abilities.
Okay. Define
With a swollen lip. We'll see how well he can talk with a swollen lip.
slap. Slaps can be delivered all sorts of ways. Slap on the back, slap on the arm, a full-on
Just enough to get the
Open-handed.
point across, I think.
Oh, maybe like a little side hand cheek thing, just kind of pop.
I just want to say that my ring finger is the one that's closest to me.
that's
So there
what-
might be some metallic
Yeah.
Oh, man.
connection with the cranium there.
So that's what...
All right. It's been recorded. It's official.
it's legit.
So there you go.
Verbally binding in California.
right.
I kind of wish he would say we could tase him every time he says
Oh, but we don't have a taser.
We don't have a taser, and I think that would cause too many long interruptions on the
Yeah, and it
podcast,
might short
so
the equipment too. So.
it just wouldn't be as good.
Hey,
So
Okay, well, that in
there
mind.
you have it. All right, shall we go forward? So I'm going to be extra conscious, especially since I put that out there. All right, one second here.
shrimp. I'm bored at home, just clipping my toenails. Anybody want to do anything tonight? I totally love
We're
strawberries.
going swimming in my new Speedo. I know you guys are jealous. Hello.
Anybody want to join my hobby?
Facebook police. This, of course, is the part of the show where we police Facebook, where we initiate our social networking militia.
Where we release the hounds.
We issue citations for people doing stupid things on Facebook. And today I have a gem.
You have a doozy.
I have a gem. I don't, this is the kind of thing I've seen on like Failbook and
Right.
stuff like that, and it's where. Sorry, I'm being super conscious about not saying us.
You see, I think you're trapping
distracting.
yourself here.
I really am.
You're not even gonna. Ironically, you're not gonna be able to deliver your best podcast because you're thinking about saying and stuff like that. You're being too hard on yourself.
Yes.
I think.
No.
Okay.
No.
Quant really wants to slap you, and I totally get that. So
He's
we'll just
actually
go ahead and.
He's actually missed a couple opportunities already.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, okay, so back to the perpetrator.
All right. So this is great. So there's people who don't know how to use Facebook. And then there's people who don't even know what Facebook is. And I think this person falls
qualifies.
into the latter category. Yeah, see, okay, he's too changed. See, if Nate was there, he would do it.
I would just full on backslap.
He would do
Yeah,
it.
That's fine. It takes
That was a
energy.
warning. That
Now
was
you
a
gotta
shot
burn
across-
All right, I
5
appreciate that.
calories
Shot
to
across
get
the
up
bow.
on my
I
chair
appreciate
and-
the-
Give you a little bit of
warning shot.
leniency to start.
All right.
So this is somebody's Facebook. It's a series of Facebook statuses I found on their profile. Their profile has no information other than their name, pretty much. It has no profile picture or anything else. I don't even remember how I ran across this. It was a couple months ago, and I filed it away for such a time as this.
But you know this person.
I don't.
Oh.
It's like a friend of a friend or something.
Oh.
It's a great find, though.
But it's pretty awesome. So these are their. I'm going to read 3 of their Facebook statuses. Signal hot women. I think that's supposed to be single hot women. I'm not sure. They put
That
all
one's
the
my
words
favorite.
together.
That one's my favorite.
Signal hot women. So that's their first one, and then friends. That one is a little sad.
Oh,
And then local women. That's 3 statuses in a row.
That's brilliant.
And what I love about this, what's extra special about this, is each of these statuses. These are his only statuses, and they're months apart. It's like
They are.
every month.
Yeah.
it's once a month.
Local women was December 17th. Friends was January 11th. And Signal Hot Women was February 24th. This was
I love it how he, it was interesting because I was rating him in reverse, so I thought the standards had kind of gone out the window.
Same thing.
But now that I see the dates, he actually upped the standards.
he's progressing.
Started looking for local women. It's like, okay, I can't find any of those. Maybe I can at least find some friends so that I can complain to about.
Yeah.
And then who knows? Maybe within the course of a month and a half, he became like ultra player, and he's just like, signal hot women, y'all. And maybe he wants to learn how to signal hot women.
It's possible.
Maybe he's looking for the right signals.
Somebody who knows Morse code.
So,
Sorry.
what's the moral here? I think is don't get on the internet if you're this guy.
Yeah. Know your search engines.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
going to say, this great new search engine. It's called Facebook.
Yeah.
No.
Not so much.
Not so much.
Yeah. So
That's good.
honestly, I do feel a little bad for that guy. 'cause
Yeah,
that
you
does
can't
seem-
help but feel
It's a
kind of
bit
bad.
embarrassing, but I'm going to guess
Yeah.
that he probably doesn't know one way
You
or
know?
the other what happened.
I gotta say, of all the things that single men search for on Google, those are probably some of the most tame you'll ever get.
Yeah, actually,
So-
it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, it
So,
could be a
yeah.
lot worse.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
As someone in the chat room says, I think Craigslist singles. Maybe he thought he was on Craigslist or something. I don't know.
I can see how they get to be easily confused.
Yeah,
Facebook,
Quant's gone to that
Craigslist.
site all the time. Anyway,
All right.
it's,
This brings us to topic. This, of course, is the part of the show where we choose a topic on a weekly basis, and we discuss it.
You're going to have to run that by me again. What?
So what it is there's this topic. Like, you just think of something.
Right.
And then,
How
since
often?
it's a weekly podcast,
Okay.
it's weekly.
All right.
And then we discuss the topic that we... Are you following me?
Now Nate's
I don't
gonna-
feel like you're
Nate's
following
gonna
me.
slap me now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much,
I just
okay.
think it's funny that you use the term "run" as in runs because it's just appropriate.
Hey-o.
Explain what's
Nice.
going on, Calvin.
All right, so this week's topic is... What is the worst time, or in my case at least,
Times.
when you've had the runs, when you've had to rush and drop the kids off at the pool, pinch the loaves, soil the pot,
Lead the Browns to the Super Bowl.
and other euphemisms for going poop.
Now, I have to ask, Cowan,
Yes.
is there something that happened recently that inspired this topic? Because you texted this out a couple days ago, and I
Yes.
couldn't help but thinking,
It's very true.
where was he when he was texting this message out? And what inspired
I have a
this?
story and then kind of like a bonus. I have a bonus kind of.
Okay.
He was sitting
Story
in
or
a cold
situation.
sweat,
Yeah.
and he just realized, there's our topic.
Yeah,
There it is.
Yeah.
Inspiration has struck.
it happened. Yeah, it's when nature calls. It's inspiration and nature
Yeah.
kind of come together.
Sometimes it's
So-
gentle, sometimes it's loud.
Who wants to kick us off? Who's got something?
Well, I was gonna pass the ball your way.
I don't
to,
know. I
kick
think
it
he's
off.
got. Well, you have like
I
what,
have
three.
I have several.
You have three.
right.
Why don't you start with one?
I'll start
and then
with one.
We'll,
Okay,
we'll share a couple
that's
things.
a good idea. We'll take turns.
enough.
And if anybody in the chat room has a story, feel free to drop it in the chat room as well.
Heyo.
Just drop it in the collective pool.
Just
that is
run
this
it by
podcast.
us. You know, maybe you have one, or if you don't have a first pick, maybe a number two. So my first is I used to work at a call center, and I would take phone calls. Oh, there you go. Okay,
There it is.
Juan
There's one.
slapped me.
There's one.
Good
Full-on
job.
slapped.
Good job.
Thank you.
I was starting to think you wouldn't do it.
Never doubt. Oh man!
See, this is helpful to me. It
It's a
really
lot
is.
easier after you do it the first time.
It's helpful to me.
I only wish our listeners could take as much enjoyment as we slapping.
I need like a slap sound effect because they
you
can't
do.
really hear the slap
That's
you're
kinda hard.
slapping me with, but whatever. So I worked at a call center, and it was kind of a bottom rung job at the call center in terms of the kinds of calls I would take. It was mostly people who would get lost in the phone queue, and I'd have to kind of direct them back to where they needed to be.
Sure.
And then one time, somebody called, and while I was talking to them, it happened. I'm
no.
like, oh my gosh,
Cold sweat.
I gotta go now.
Now, I see. I think everybody. Well, while you experience similar symptoms, if you were, does it? Is there anything special about how something comes to you? I mean, some people break out in a sweat. Some people just start feeling
get a little-
nauseous.
yeah, a
Some
little
people
dizzy.
start.
Yeah.
It builds up, you know. First, it starts. Okay, I got, you know. I don't want to get too graphic
Of
here.
course. There's a signal here. My
topic is
body's
already-
telling me something.
Right. Exactly.
My body was telling me. I did start to break out into a sweat, and of course, this was the one guy. Most of my calls at this time were like a couple minutes at the most.
Sure,
This was the guy who was freaking looking for some store in like Yugoslavia or something. I kid you not. It was the one call where this guy was like, "Do you have a store for your product in some like practically
Some
third
remote
world
land.
European country?"
I'm planning on visiting somewhere within the next 10 years.
Exactly.
I don't know.
And I was still relatively new to the job, so I have no idea if we have a store in Yugoslavia.
Of course not.
And so I actually had to put him on hold.
Oh my god.
And go ask a more experienced person where the heck is, do we have stores in Yugoslavia?
Meanwhile, you're
Meanwhile,
dancing.
Yeah,
You're dancing.
and I'm just like, I feel, I don't even know. I might have left some kind of effervescence trail.
So you had to go back to this guy on the phone
Yes.
and conclude the business before
Yeah.
you could.
So I had to do all that. So it was like, of course, the longest call I've ever had to take, and that was the one.
That was the one I
where
hit.
I'm barely holding on, and also our cubicles at that time were super close together. So that was the worst part. Is if you have gas, your buddy in the queue next to you knows instantly, and I feel pretty bad because I'm pretty sure she, the girl next to me, the lady,
Embarrassing.
Why did it have to be
Sprayed-
chimichanga day at the cafeteria? Why?
She would spray her
Just putting lotion on. It's
occasion.
just lotion.
So yeah, that was probably me. I feel pretty bad. Thankfully, they later upgraded us to much larger cubicles
With
and-
big fans.
Yeah. So, but that was pretty rough. That was definitely a rough one. So I've got some more. Who's got one?
Well, I got one.
All right.
I've got a couple.
Go right
as
ahead.
well.
You
Go right
got some
ahead.
doozies.
Oh boy, yeah. This one is. It really brought my disdain for Disneyland. It wasn't so much Disneyland.
Oh.
I decided with friends we visited Thanksgiving weekend.
There goes my Disneyland story.
Oh, sorry.
No, by all means.
I can switch to another one real quick because yours is actually
No, please. by
I'll make
all
this
means.
quick, 'cause
no,
I've got-
we will prove that it is the crappiest place, literally.
No. I'll make this quick because I got two other better ones. I think.
All right,
But
all right.
anyway, real quick, left Disneyland to head back home. Home is Northern California, Sacramento area. And over the Grapevine, which is just coming out of L.A., and you've got this long stretch of I-5. You
Of
can see
nothing.
to the horizon.
Of hills.
Yes.
I could see taillights to the horizon. I'm in a car with 4 people.
Oh,
no.
Gosh.
And we're moving 20 miles an hour, and there is not a rest stop in sight.
Oh, no. Not
And
on
we
the
are
Grapevine.
not moving, and I am sweating, crying, trying to play it off. And I'm not in a closed cubicle, friends. I'm in a closed car in November.
Oh no.
And we finally made it, I'm like, guys, we got to pull over wherever you can. And
You
there
guys,
was
you guys made it to.
we made it to this, where everybody was stopping. It was like this little town off the side of the road, and it just had to. Then you get in there, and then the bathroom, of course, is full, so you're dancing in the bathroom, and it was. It was
jeez.
awful.
Oh my gosh.
It was the worst
Let me just ask this. Let me just preempt this whole session here.
Okay.
Does anybody have a story where they didn't make it? Because I've never heard one of those before. I think by the grace
I've
of
heard
God,
those,
everybody has successfully been able to.
I think
to
so.
take care
There,
of business.
I know of some, but I know I haven't.
That's just that's
thankfully-
my biggest fear. I have nightmares about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've come close. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
It's
One of your
been
stories?
So close. Oh,
Our buddy Chris Allen actually has a really good one.
Oh, I remember his story. That was fantastic.
Where he made it, but he did not make it.
But he didn't quite make it.
Yeah, there was some cleanup that had to be done.
that's rough.
It's gross.
Well, there you go. Grapevine. I can't. Yeah, that's
horrible.
That's straight up horrible.
And there's no relief literally in sight. It's taillights to the horizon. Anyway, Nate.
When I was, I think, just starting college, and I came back home, and my best friend was still living here at the time, and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, we all decided, I forget where we were celebrating. It may have been like my birthday or something, but we went to Red Lobster, and I could pretty much end the story right there. But
Enough said.
but my buddy was a decent drinker. I was kind of getting into the swing of things. But he, I remember we all sat like at the bar, and he's like, "Let's kick this thing off right." And he's like looking on the list and ooh, lobsteritas. Ooh, what are those?
No.
So they have like the 8-ounce lobster or like 12 or something like that. Just the regular size lobsteritas. We said, heck no. Let's go for I think it was like the 24-ounce lobsterita. So they bring out just these they're in giant margarita glasses, just these giant pitcher, sort of things.
Oof.
So I don't know what in my mind thought this was a good idea. You know, at this point we had been eating nothing but Cheddar Bay biscuits. Oh. And we just start going to town on these lobsteritas. And I polish mine off. And if that isn't just adding insult to injury, I ordered, I think it was like the Admiral's Gas Feast or something, where you literally have like, you literally have everything that's found in the sea, but in fried form on this giant platter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so here I am thinking college student, you think you're like indestructible at that age. You're just like, I've got the iron stomach. I'm going to do this. Yeah. So I just destroy this platter. More Cheddar Bay biscuits, more lobsterita, more just everything. We get into the car afterwards. I just feel like I want to die. Nothing's hit yet. Nothing, but you just
know
you're full to the point where you're just like, I'm going to regret this. I'm going to regret this so much.
Yeah.
Red Lobster was 20 minutes away from the house, and I believe we got about halfway there. So it's one of those things where you can't turn back. Yeah. I mean, you can't,
You're at that halfway point.
Exactly. There wasn't a lot of stops. There wasn't a lot of gas stations on the way there. 10 minutes, I start getting the grumbles. And I look at my buddy Matt, and I'm just like, Matt, and this is somebody, mind you, he had like a souped up Acura at the time. Mm-hmm. He and I had hit 110 miles an hour on the freeway just for kicks because we were idiots like that. Mm-hmm. And so I was used to him going fast. I said, Matt, you need to drive as fast as you can to get home. I said, or we are going to be detailing your car tomorrow. And he's just like, what's wrong? And I could barely even speak because I felt if I opened another orifice, it would all just
come out.
It would all just happen. So I'm bouncing around in the back seat of his Acura, just praying for death. And meanwhile, he's like trying to fly through like stop signs, and Megan's just like, hold on, baby, hold on. And we pull up to.
He didn't have like a big bass subwoofer or anything, did he?
No, if he had cranked that, it would have been all over, just all over. So we got to my parents' house, and I basically penguin walk, and I made it. Thank goodness.
Clenched waddle.
So, but it's such a horrible feeling.
Yeah, it's that thin line. Like, you can't run because if you run, then everything's just going to go. But
exactly.
You don't want to walk slow.
Exactly. I think Matt was just dying at that point. He was just cracking up so hard because he was just glad I was out of his car. So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Keon. What's your?
We have in the chat room here one says while jogging.
I don't know.
Man. What's the end of that story? Did you make it?
The end of the story is
sure hope you stopped jogging was the first step.
Yeah. The only problem is he was in the Rocky Mountains and there was no
he was on a treadmill and he couldn't turn it off.
He was in the middle of nowhere. I was jogging in Death Valley and so, do you want to follow up with another one?
Yeah, I got another one.
Please.
This was we went with some friends to view a potential wedding spot, which is what it ended up being was where they had their wedding, and it was about an hour away, and they were driving,
right?
And
make the sound effect for me, would you?
Oh,
all right,
there we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So they were driving us, Esther and me, and it hit on the way, and it's an hour drive.
Oh, man.
And they were driving the speed limit, which it was a drive that I've made 1,000,000 times because it was actually at Esther's parents' house.
Right.
And we never drive the speed limit.
No, of course not. Jeez.
Not for that ride.
Not even on those windy roads.
So it hit, and the whole way
And how far away were you?
I was probably
you were a good
like
45 minutes.
Yeah,
dude.
We had not gotten very far,
and you didn't ask to stop.
It was a little too far for that, and it was just kind of
okay.
You know,
it was riding that line.
Yeah,
it was okay. All right,
I can make it. I can't make it. No,
but then the windows were all closed, and I started eking out the silent but deadly, and it was just it was the worst because we're stuck in this tiny car with them. They're not saying anything.
Was it hot outside?
And it was hot. Yeah, but it wasn't something where we could just roll down the windows easily, and it was It was bad. It was so bad. I
That's
just
horrible.
barely made it all the way.
That's
all
so
the way home.
horrible.
But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that's that one. But anytime you're with other people, that's just the worst.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's rough. I'm gonna up it just a little bit.
Yeah, you are.
Gonna take it international here, fellas.
Oh, my
International.
goodness.
Ooh, I haven't heard
International.
this one. I don't think I've heard this one.
So, with some friends again.
Oh, yes, I have.
In the time in your youth,
You were visiting
it was
that
college.
store in Yugoslavia.
In
right?
Yugoslavia. I found it, and it was. I appreciate your help. I didn't even know him at the time. At the base of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh.
Tourist. Hey, let's go see the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
It's evening. We
Yeah.
go to the Eiffel Tower. It hits.
Oh, like on the way up?
No, we were just on the ground.
You're at the base of the
and I'm like, oh shoot. So I go, oh, there's a restroom sign.
Yeah.
Go over to that. Closed.
Of course.
Oh,
Well, you have to understand the French don't use public restrooms. They
right.
just kind of go on.
Oh,
the
he
street.
understands that pretty well now.
no,
I'd say.
I found out now.
He became one of them. Initiated.
Oui, oui. So I don't speak the language. And I've got
You
to
said
somehow...
oui. That works.
That's work.
Le poupou.
Le pou.
Le pou.
Pepe La Pew.
So, unfortunately, a friend of mine, I turn to her and I say, I gotta go. I don't know where to go. And so,
she's like, but we just got here. No, I have
no,
to
no,
go.
you don't understand.
Back
I
to
have
the
to go.
States already?
This is the one time in our quest. It became a quest. We were crossing rivers. You might have heard of the river Seine. We crossed that.
Nice.
Looking for a place. It's the one
Just
time
for
in
a
my life
bathroom?
a hot girl walked up to me and talked to me. Out of the blue. Didn't understand a word she was saying. She asked me a
So
question.
the person that was helping you was French.
No, it was a friend of mine, but
Oh,
she
okay,
spoke
friend of
French.
you. Gotcha,
So
okay.
anyway, finally, and I'm kind of doing that. I'm on the
So she
streets
was
of
probably
Paris.
like, where, do you know where that smell is coming from?
You're walking like Charlie Chaplin. Across the-
Oh, it's American. Finally, streets of Paris. Finally, my friend, we find this cafe or something, and she explains the situation. I think she might have just said I was crazy. Can you just let him in? And I go. Finally, there is relief in sight. I go
in the form of a 5-gallon bucket.
I go. I open the door.
No.
And it's a hole in the ground,
Yes.
friends. It is a
yes.
porcelain hole in the ground, and I didn't care.
The romance of France.
You learn quick. Even if it's a hole in the ground, when you gotta go.
Yes.
Too many crepes, huh? Just too
I don't
many.
know what it was, dude, but
Just
it was bad.
you and your girlfriend had a crepe eating competition or something. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
No.
What the crepe? I gotta take a crepe.
It's great,
The biggest crepe of my life.
You got any others, Nate?
I got one other.
right.
I got. Yeah, it was a Disneyland, the story, and I think I told it on a previous podcast. But for those that are familiar with the format of Disneyland, Megan and I met up with some very good friends of ours, just another couple. We met in New Orleans Square, where they have that French market. French, huh? Continuing
oui.
the theme.
Poo-poo.
Yes.
Is that before or after
Precisely.
Katrina?
What's that?
Nothing.
Before or after what?
Nothing. Keep going.
All right.
I didn't even say for that.
You were going to. So this is after I think I had just dropped like 35 pounds, like over the course of,
That was when you
I think,
tossed
like
that baby out the
6
window.
months. Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so I don't know what got into my head that when we were vacationing in Disneyland, I'm like, hey, I can eat whatever I want. So I don't even know what compelled me. Like my friend was like, yeah, that's really good. You should try that. It was like some jambalaya cream-based pasta. And up until this point, I'd been eating like super healthy. And I just piled it on. Like I just piled it on. And so they get to thinking, hey, you guys have already done all of Disneyland today. Let's head over to Disney, California. Okay, why not? So it's a decent walk. You know, you got to walk through the entire park at Disneyland. You got to walk through the central area there. And then you have to walk in Disney, California, which has a lot more space than Disneyland does. It's like all over the place. Yeah. So as a result, the bathrooms are like crazy spread apart as well. I'm not familiar with the layout of Disney California. I am now, that's for sure. Because we like get to walk and we're like going to the new Toy Story attraction that they had just like opened up or something, and you can't slap me because I didn't hold myself to that condition. See, that's 2 slaps right there. So we start walking. We just enter Disney California. And then I just start breaking out into just chills. Like, it's just sweat and chills, and I'm just realizing this is bad. This is going to be really, really bad.
Like, maybe I should get off of this roller coaster now.
So, and then I realized, too, I don't have a map. And so my first quest, I like had to divide it up into quests. Your first quest is to find the map that will lead you to a place of relief. To Mordor. Right, so I'm basically audibly saying, "Map! Someone hand me a map!" People are looking at me like I'm crazy.
The Dora Explorer ride is over there.
Finally,
your friend Sam is just like, I can't carry the poo for you, but I can carry you.
But I can carry you to relief. I'm like, somebody better give me a map now, or that fountain over there. Yeah, they're going to be filtering that baby tonight. So I find a map that's hidden behind a kiosk that's hidden behind a funny little architecture thing. And then I'm frantically flipping through this map, looking for the tiny little decals. Okay, there's one, and it's like 100 yards away. And I like tell my wife and my friends, I will catch up with you. I don't know when, but I know for a fact the ride is brand new, the line is super long, and it won't matter.
I will return, my sweetest.
So I find
You're Mel Gibson. I will find you.
Just stay in the line no matter what occurs.
I will find you.
I will find you. I will take care of business. So that's exactly what I did. I was in that poor bathroom for what had to have been about 15, 20 minutes or so. And then I made it back with plenty of time thanks to the Disneyland lines.
Man.
Almost didn't make it. That would have been bad. A Toy Story tragedy.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
So Christopher Battles, he mentioned he had to go while jogging,
Right.
and according to him, he wound up going in a bush with no paper in sight. Have you guys ever had to do that?
No.
I've never had to do that. Although, when I was a kid, I went in a lake.
You went number 2 in a lake?
When I was a little kid.
Kudos, sir.
Thank you.
Why not?
Kudos.
Yep. Just
Big toilet.
You know what?
Popped it right
All
out.
the animals
Fish do it all the time.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right. You just hope there's a strong current.
Yeah.
In the lake. The water's very still today.
It was the Dead Sea.
Hey,
It was after I went there.
but boom.
So I've never been faced with that where I've never even had to go with toilet paper just out in the woods. I've always managed to find a toilet of some sort.
Yeah.
So I pray I never have to do that.
Yes.
So
Thankfully.
anyway.
I don't know how you would deal with the aftermath.
That's right.
From that. I'm curious about that.
Speaking of out in a wooded area,
Okay.
isn't that what your last story is?
Yeah. So this was a while ago, and I've told it on previous podcasts, so I won't give all the details.
Oh,
of this
embellish.
But we were out looking for Christmas trees on my wife's parents' property.
Right.
They have a whole bunch of trees out in the wilderness.
Wasn't Quant with you?
And Quant was
was
with
with
me.
him.
Nice.
Yeah.
He
was my
witnessed
moral
this.
support.
He witnessed this firsthand.
And I started feeling it. We're out in the middle of nowhere looking for a Christmas tree. We still haven't even chopped it down yet.
That is the worst feeling.
And I'm trying to explain to my wife, I'm not feeling too good, and she's not quite getting the message.
Right.
She's like, okay, whatever, you're fine. I'm like, no, I'm really not feeling good. I'm trying not to, in front of everybody, explain what's happening. But anyways, I ended up having to help saw down
this poor
2
guy.
Christmas trees.
This poor guy. And then they
load
wanted to
them-
stop on the way
Load
back.
them in the truck, and then they stopped on the way back to their house because they thought they found another Christmas tree. I'm like, no, we don't need another Christmas tree.
Question: had you only explained your situation to your wife, or did you explain
Can
to
I
the
jump in on
entire
this?
group?
Go for it, Quan.
Okay, so a little bit into this, I catch on on what's going on. And I feel for my brother here.
You picked up on the
He has a good nose for those things.
I'm like, oh shoot, he's got to go. We got and somehow, yeah, like you were saying, the women folk weren't quite getting the message.
Yeah.
And let's go look at this one
That
over
is
here.
so
let's
not
go look at this one
fair.
over here. No, it's true.
Yeah.
it's true. And so we're trying to like rush it along, and we get in the truck, and it was my truck, and I kind of peel out. I'm going back down this dirt road, and then I'm trying to okay, I got a couple more turns, and then we're gonna let's look at that tree.
Oh, no way.
I felt
way.
bad. Oh, I felt bad.
I made it though. I made it.
I'm sorry. At that point, I'd have to threaten. I'd be like, "We go look at that
He's
tree."
being too good of a sport about it.
I was being discreet, which is obviously something.
You know why?
I'll podcast about it, but when I'm in the moment, I won't say anything.
Because your marriage was new, I think.
Maybe I don't know.
It was kind of new.
It was newer then than it is now.
Well, that's very true. I think now you'd be like, "Hey, very simple choice. We either look at that next tree."
Yeah,
And I just full on blow it out in the vehicle here, or we can go home and have a chance of maybe avoiding this horrific.
Third option, I just go behind that
I
tree
just
and
go
y'all
behind
wait
that
for a little
tree.
bit.
How
And
you
you're
like
not going to pick it anyway.
How you like the tree now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man. Yeah,
So I made it once again. I survived, but it was
Poor guy.
every single time you're always just like, am I going to make it? I don't know if I'm going to make it.
It's funny when somebody just gets real quiet, and it's just this internal battle that's going on now, and you're like, I feel
Maybe
I don't know what kind of demons they're fighting.
Maybe that's why I avoid going out into the wilderness as much as possible. Because I think I have a subconscious fear that I'm going to be somewhere where a toilet is not handy.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Because I have nothing to complain about. All of my stories revolved around people or things where like a toilet was 50 feet away or less. I had nothing to complain about.
Well, see, the good thing about fatherhood is nowadays you at least have baby wipes no matter where you are. So
You
worst case
have a
scenario,
contingency plan.
if you need to fertilize a bush, you've got wiping
You
material.
can do it. No shame. No shame. All right.
This last one that I have.
Oh, this one is so good.
I was and I've shared this one as well. I was very close to a toilet, a restroom.
Right.
Oh, this
Ain't
one is
no way
so
I was
good.
going to use it though, and
That's
here's
right.
why.
That's why.
I've shared this before, but I was newly minted as a pastor.
Glad to see you took it seriously.
Thank you. I've been drinking. No, I was. He's
not joking.
And my first assignment in my duties was to visit
I'm terribly sorry.
Thank
I
you.
just became a junior higher then.
he said duties. Was to visit a gal or a lady who had just become a widow. And I was the one that was to perform the funeral service. And so I'm in this person's house meeting with this person.
That is so bad.
Sitting on her couch. Her husband has just passed, and it hits. And I have to go.
And you have to pass.
And
Sorry.
I'm trying as hard as I can to concentrate on what she is saying, but it's just not happening. And so and there was no way in the middle of her that I'm going to excuse myself to the bathroom and then just completely destroy it. And so I,
That's so horrible.
Again, crossing the legs, a little bit of sweat broke out, really just thinking, how quickly can I wrap this up? And eventually left and barely made it. But it was just, it was not something where it's what are you going to do? I'm sorry for your loss, but I have to go.
But I am going to blow up your bathroom. I am literally going to destroy
to die again.
I'm going to head there, and you call the plumber in advance. That's the worst possible.
That trumps it all, because that's the one situation where you cannot. In all the other situations we've mentioned, there's ways you can communicate it.
It would be the biggest slap in the face to somebody who had actually lost
I'm
someone.
sorry.
Yeah.
I know your husband was important to you, but I have something a little more pressing right now, all right?
It's a little more urgent.
But I'm going to leave something that will linger for at least 24 hours.
It's either going to be on your couch or in your bathroom. You let me know.
I'm about to do something that'll definitely take your mind off of what we're talking about here.
You got to admit, it would have made a good story in the long run.
It would have, but you know what?
If he'd blown it up. It made a good story
the
anyways, though.
guilt, I think, that he would have carried with him
gosh.
would have been
Would
on
have
for a
destroyed
lifetime.
you.
I was crying, and it was not for the story she was telling. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sound insensitive. But.
The whole time she's like, look, I understand I'm going through a hard time, but
Yeah,
like,
but
he's
you don't
really
have
taking
to
it
be-
hard.
Yeah, that guy's, he's really feeling it.
He's so upset. He's
His
sweating.
face is so clenched. And it's like
His face is
dripping with
beet
sweat.
red.
Just biting his finger, really hoping he doesn't.
Oh,
And did I pass gas?
Sorry.
Oh my goodness. Well, that trumps it.
wow, that's pretty rough.
It was
So
embarrassing.
I got one more, and it's nothing major, but it was on. Then this was where I got the inspiration. So thank you, Quant, for calling in.
You're welcome.
But it was on the way home from church. Esther had some activities she was going to with some friends, and so I was driving the kids home from church, and it's like a half-hour drive.
Would you say the pews came with you?
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't say that.
Fair enough. I knew I was going to get that response. That's why I said that. Anyway, sorry.
So I started feeling it on the way, and I've got all the kids in the car with me, so it's not like I can just pull over somewhere and like
So this
run
was-
into the bathroom.
This was recently, then?
yeah, this was
Okay.
just last Sunday.
This is literally
Yeah.
last Sunday.
Yeah. So I started feeling it. So I had to get all the way home, and we live pretty far from our church. It's like
Oh my
a
gosh.
30-minute drive, and I made it. But on the way, and so this is kind of my bonus one because it's more of like a what would you do if this happened? Because on the way, I'm like kind of pushing the speed limit a little bit for obvious reasons.
Yep.
And I pass a couple cop cars. Like there's actually a few cop cars out, and I'm like, holy crap. What would you do if you got pulled over while you have the runs?
I've thought about that.
I was like, literally, I saw the cop car, and I'm like starting to think, okay, what am I going to do if all of a sudden these sirens start coming out behind me? Am I gonna pull over and just like jet for the bushes, and then all of a sudden somebody's gonna cuff me
They're
while
going to
I'm
think you're resisting.
Yeah, exactly.
They might even open fire.
they're gonna be like checking my cavity. I'm like, you're not gonna like what you find
At
there.
your own risk.
Or the other option is I just keep driving, then they follow me and try to flag me down.
Yeah,
and
but
then,
in
like,
that case,
yeah.
a lot of people will clear the way.
That's right.
So you'll be
That's
able
a
to get
good
home
point.
faster.
That's a
You might
good
even have a
point.
helicopter
I mean,
showing you
sure,
the way.
Yeah.
you're going to
go.
get tackled when you get into the
Yeah.
driveway, but, you know.
There's no way for that to end well.
No.
Oh,
No.
gosh. So that thought occurred to me. Thankfully, I didn't have to actually live through that. But
Because it's
that's,
always occurred to me that the cops will allow one special exception is if they pull the person over and the wife is literally like
Right.
in labor.
Yeah.
And in that case, I always kind of hear the cop is like, I'm going to escort you. And then
Yeah.
they like take you right
Yeah.
there if you're lucky. But this is an entirely different second exception, which I had never considered.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the cop's going to have to
They've got
deal
it,
with
right?
all sorts of things if
Yeah.
he doesn't let you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 So that's my what would you do scenario there. So
It's good.
dear listeners, thank you for joining us for this episode of Pop Mockers. If you have a funny story about a time when you had to go to the bathroom in an inconvenient situation, send us an email. Go to popmockers.com/contact or tell us what you would do if you had to poo and a cop pulled over you. I was trying to go for the rhyme. It didn't work.
There you go.
Nailed it.
If you enjoyed the show, please leave us a review on the iTunes store. Check us out on Facebook as well. We post general humor stuff there, not just stuff about our podcast. And for show notes, including links mentioned during the show, visit popmockers.com. For comics, videos, and more original and entertaining podcasts, visit breakroomstudios.com.